Are you a man that feels being unfulfilled at work is ruining other parts of your life? Well, that's something that's very common, unfortunately. Because we've spent so many years working in jobs, doing things, climbing the corporate ladder, uh, you know, taking on degrees and education that doesn't energize us or make us feel good about what we're doing, but we're doing it because we have a responsibility to take care of our families, we end up feeling unfulfilled. And the ramifications of feeling unfulfilled typically don't just present themselves at work, but they start to seep into our lives with our families, with our wives, with our children. And this is something that goes unnoticed many times or unrecognized, let's say, very much noticeable, but not recognized by us as men. We don't we don't think that the 8, 9, 10, 12 hours that we're spending at work and feeling completely depleted from that, when we come back home, we believe that that just doesn't affect our relationship with our wives or our relationship with our kids or even doing the things that we love to do outside of work. But the reality is it definitely does affect us. And you can look at that in many ways. Look at the relationship that you have with your wife. If you're stressed out at work or you're feeling unsatisfied at work or you're feeling completely belittled or, depleted at work, that's going to come back to you when you're trying to sit and communicate with your wife. And it's going to lessen your tolerance level for kids yelling and screaming and wanting to come see their dad when he comes back home from work. And so you can start to pick up on some of these things that you've seen in your life where you're just, you don't have the same type of capacity that you used to have. And so what does that feeling start to bring? It starts to make you feel like you're a failure, that you're not doing everything that you wanted to do, or you're not acting like the husband that you want to act like. You're not giving your children the amount of time and energy that you want to give them, and it's not quality time anymore. And that pressure of now feeling like you're a failure as a husband, you're a failure as a father, and now you're also not fulfilled at work, so you don't feel a sense of accomplishment with the stuff that you're doing at work. All of it starts to come together, and it really puts us as men in these depressive episodes. And then we also don't talk about it with each other. We don't talk about it with other men, with our friends, with our siblings, with our fathers, with anyone, other groups, people that are struggling. And we start to isolate ourselves and think that we are the only ones that are going through this. I, Othman, am the only one that's feeling this way. The reality is, you're not. So many men are feeling the exact same way as you. And I want to say that there's a way to change that. There's a better way for us to live. There is a better way for us to start to incrementally improve our lives, not only at what we're doing at work, but then that improves our mental, emotional, and spiritual states at home. And it allows us to start to introduce or reintroduce the things that we love to do. And this is why many times men let themselves, get away. We start to build a belly, we start to get out of shape, we start to feel like there's no turning back, and we start to comfort eat, and all of this starts to spiral. And so, my advice to you, if you're a man that's feeling this way, is just stop and recognize. Recognize what's going on. Look down, look at your belly, look at your life, look at your relationship, and know that that's not you. And there's been so many men that I've been speaking to that are feeling this way, and it affects me. It affects me because these are good people. These are good people that are struggling with normal things, but yet we feel we're so isolated that we can't deal with this. So the first thing is recognize that you're not alone. A lot of people are going through the same things. Number two is identify the things that do give you joy. What gets you excited? What makes you feel happy? What brings joy into your life? Go back and start to think about ways that you can introduce that on a weekly, daily basis. Start small. Don't boil the ocean. Start with just one thing on a weekly basis that you're going to change, and then next week add to that. You know, there's a motto in kind of running and endurance workouts is don't increase more than 10% week over week. So stay very consistent with that. And number three is communicate with your wife, communicate with your spouse, communicate with your loved ones. Be very open with what you're feeling and why you're feeling these things. Many times we come back and we use our secondary emotions of anger and lashing out and frustration, yelling and screaming to cover the real deep emotion of sadness, of, you know, feeling like you're not accomplishing the full potential that you can be. And this starts to affect us in different ways. So recognize that that's why you're feeling angry. And rather than use the anger to push everybody away, openly communicate with your wife and let her know what you're feeling and why you're feeling that. And then she'll be more empathetic to the situation and that you have a plan now moving forward. So those are three pieces of advice that I think you can apply today. But the first step is to actually recognize that you're going through this and to get yourself out of this cycle. So just stop. Reach out if you want somebody to talk to, if you want someone to help you feel guided through this journey and navigate it. That's what I'm here for. Let's rise together.